It's Halloween. Welcome to a very spooky edition of How the Race Was Won. Seriously though, this week we're dressing up as women's Cross Vegas highlights from way back in September, which really is apt because, as we all know, Cross Vegas is an industry event poorly disguised as a UCI C1. In addition to costumes, Halloween is a time for pranks, and I can't help myself from thinking Luna's Katarina Nash might just pull one here at the start. You can see she gets her feet up on the pedals as quickly as anyone else, but doesn't stand to punch it. Now, we've all had moments where, for whatever reason, we weren't quite dialed in enough to risk standing, but with a firm headwind in a race that's known to be pretty unselective off the line, maybe she's already letting someone else burn matches. But in cyclocross, that would be awfully risky, as Optum Kelly Benefit's Crystal Anthony almost shows seconds later, popping out of her pedal in the midst of the charge. She actually pulls off a great recovery, not taking anyone else out, not holding up the field, nor even losing too many places herself, but as you could see in the distance behind the commanding hole shot taken by Raleigh Clement's Caroline Mani, others further down were not so lucky. Man, this is a roadie course, even with the mini velodrome. I know because we're not even a lap in yet, and Specialized Lululemon's Ali Stalker, who started back in the 5th row and, if the internet is correct, hasn't done a UCI cross race since U23 Nationals in 2008, is one of the lead riders. Also, this GoPro 8 inches off the bars seems kind of illegal. But I'm sure it's not because UCI officials never miss any bike issues when they go through and check at the start, just like they never miss any poorly laid out barriers and course tape during their pre-race inspections. Anyway, along with the roadiness comes some team tactics. Here we see the then unheralded Elle Anderson of Cal Giant pushing the tempo before her teammate Meredith Miller comes through to take a pull a few corners later, with Nash and Luna teammate Catherine Pendrell sandwiched between them. But there still didn't feel like there was much urgency in the bunch. Here you can see Crank Brothers' Chloe Woodruff almost casually cruise into second wheel simply because no one there seems interested in stopping her. Also have to give a quick shout out to Specialized Leah Davidson for riding the stairs in the middle of this scrum, even if it did maybe turn out to be a little slower. Despite pulls from Rafa Focus's Gavi Duran, Nash, and Miller, thick pack conditions continued well into the third lap. Let's make a quick mark here to note where Miller stops pedaling coming into these barriers and remember it for later. And finally, Davidson decides he's had enough of this pack racing and hits the gas. However, you'll still see some pedal and pause hesitation around these bends, and it's a stark contrast to Nash, who seems to get in a pedal stroke or two more around each corner. By the next lap, the Luna rider is clear, and watch how far into the barriers she pedals here. You might wonder, as Davidson and Pendrell get clear behind, how 3 mountain bikers are dominating on such a roady course, but it's all about eking out those fractions of seconds where you can. I mean, yes, obviously Nash has power to spare, but off-road riders have less hindrance from that coast-and-follow mentality that seemed to take a ton of wind out of the chase's sails as the lead trio began to increase its advantage. Of course, the flip side of this is that maybe the leaders don't have the best tactical sense. Pendrell, I think, fearing the outcome of a sprint, makes an attack on Davidson up this rise, which is fine. But then afterwards she kind of parks herself on the front, not yelling or arm flailing or weaving or doing anything to cajole Davidson back into the lead. Fortunately, it was a non-issue for Nash, who rode in smiling and high-fiving for the easy win, while Davidson confirmed Pendrell's fears, absolutely rearranging the Canadian in the sprint for the second step of the podium. I'm Cosmo Catalano, and that's how the race was won.